Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy third recording on this Saturday. I want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as seasoned. I have a word for you, a quick word. Well, I don't know how quick, but it's to another email response. Guys, what's so crazy is my intentions today were to upload that one recording on the guy who married his stepdaughter or whatever, early this morning, like 9 o'clock this morning. And for some reason, I told you guys that recording would not upload. I had a to-do list today. I have done absolutely nothing on that to-do list. I've been feeling so convicted to catch up on these emails and to make these recordings. And that's what I'm doing. Told you guys, regardless of what I got going on, my obedience game is on fleek. So I want to respond to this email. And I'm just going to summarize it. It's a long email. Listen, sis, I told you guys before, and I'm telling you this too. I love long emails because long emails tell me that you are literally pouring from your spirit. So don't ever feel like you're just rambling, right? Because it may feel that way to you, but you're really purifying your spirit. You're getting all that stuff out. And anyone that God has aligned to give you a word, they will be able to understand it, right? Even if it's all over the place, he'll give them grace to understand what you're saying and what you're meaning and what your heart is expressing. So in so many words, to address a few things, she has an ex who's a narcissist. She's also going back and forth about if she is going to stay to her current church or leave. And what was the third thing? Trying to identify her purpose. And something else, but I know, I'm sorry, I should have had it pulled up, but with the ending, she was saying that she's a person who was taught that when someone says, hey, how are you doing? People really don't care. So it's almost like she keeps everything in. So many people are like that. So many people are like that. And that's the trick of the enemy. Literally, you guys are going to, I know y'all are so over me in this phone and me forgetting to turn off my sickening notifications. Please be gentle with your girl. Hear my heart. So that is the trick of the enemy. There are so many people who literally are stuck, missing blessings, missing breakthrough, because Satan really have them thinking that no one cares, no one wants to hear. And if we're honest, a lot of people in the world are just selfish and, but there's a group of individuals who God has specifically in line for you. When you find these people, these are the people that you kind of stick with, right? Like, some people, I know several people like that. Like, they'll just get a word from anybody. They go from church to church. They listen to they'll listen to 1,000 people. I don't think there's anything wrong with listening to various people, especially if those few are like on one accord. But when you're listening to 100 different people and they all have different messages, you gotta be very, very careful with that. That is very confusing. But if you have a select few, like a select, I'm more the 2 or the 3 girl, But even if you have more, as long as everyone's on the same accord, then those are the people that you can generally tap into. Those are the people that God will use as confirmation to give you certain downloads. So when you feel your spirit connecting and pulling to a certain person, like you said, described for myself, as well as Pastor R.C. Blakes and a few others, I like to consider those to be the people that God, because it's almost like you ever heard the saying that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. That is so true. That is so true. That's how I feel about Pastor R.C. Blakes, as well as his brother Samuel. I just don't mess with a lot of people. I just never been that person. I'm more I like a good 1 or 2, even 3, but that's kind of scratching it for me. I like what I like. So when I find somebody who pours into my spirit and I can really tap into it, like with Pastor Blakes, I feel like he's my kindred spirit. If I put never mind. I was about to make him a woman. Please forgive me, Pastor Blakes, if you hear this, because he is subscribed to my channel. But I feel like he's my kindred spirit. It's like when he say things, it pings It's the exact same thing that I'm going through, the exact same thing that, I asked God about. Is confirmation. So you're struggling with, you said something so profound, and this is very common, more common than people think. You can ask God for a confirmation. You can ask God for a word. You might be struggling with something, and you're like, God, please give me a sign. Please give me an answer. And God will literally give you the answer. That can be through a person who you listen to on a recording. That can be through somebody at the gas station. That can be from a friend. It's clear confirmation. And your spirit is all excited, like, oh my goodness, God answered me. And an hour later, you're asking God for that same confirmation again. Honey, I'm so guilty of that. Now, I don't do it as much now because I'm so planted now that I know when I hear from God. But there are certain times. And I think with those times, if I'm honest, it's almost like, are we trying to ignore it? Or is that confirmation leaving our spirit because it's not what we really, 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 really want to hear? Or is it a confirmation and we're getting it, and then because Satan is so tricky, he'll start sending other messages in your head. This, ding, 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 ding. This is why you have to be careful about listening to multiple people, right? And I don't think you said you are. You named a few, but I'm talking more so less about people who are listening to a lot of people, and they all have a different delivery. Not even delivery. But well, I don't know. I'm sure you get my point at this point. So when I really need an answer, I stay locked in. Whoever confirmed that thing for me, this is who I typically go back to ask, to either pray with me or pray for me or to help me get another revelation about something. I like to stick with who I believe God has given me confirmations through. And that's not to say that he won't use like another person randomly, but I'm just speaking about being planted where you get your answers. All right, listen, sis. I tell you guys, my heart breaks for anybody who've ever dated or been married to a narcissist. Again, I am one of these people who feel like that word is overly used. Overly used. You got people who want to just call selfish people a narcissist. No, they're just selfish. You got people who want to call people who play mind games a narcissist. No, he's just a man. Not all men, but he's just a man. Everybody's not a narcissist. A narcissist is a demonic spirit. And you will know when it's a narcissist because your mind is probably halfway out. Half of your mind is home. Half of your mind is out of this world somewhere. It is a demonic spirit that will destroy your life and potentially even take your mind if you're not careful. This is why it's crucial to leave a narcissist regardless of the sacrifices it will take. Because once grace is lifted off of you, if grace is lifted off of you, they can take your mind. That's a demonic spirit. Some people say it starts in childhood and then it, manifests into bigger or whatever. But at the end of the day, I've never dated a narcissist, thank God. But I've had an experience with a narcissist. And if I'm honest, what does the Bible say in regards to a lack of knowledge will cause people to perish or something like that? Told you guys I'm spirit-led, not really scripture. But I know that's a Bible verse. And a lot of people don't even realize that they're dealing with narcissists. So you're sitting here trying to fight this thing in the flesh. It's like you're playing tit for tat for them. You will never win against them. The only way to win against a narcissist is to beat them in the spiritual realm. The flesh, they will knock you out every time you get up. They will punch you so bad that one of those punches are going to be fatal. It is gut-wrenching. It is dark. It's hurtful. It's crushing. That's a spirit that only can be won in the flesh. The majority of the people around you are not going to even understand you. They're just going to be saying, I don't understand. Why would you keep going back to that? Why can't you leave? They don't even get it because it's a spiritual battle. So they're looking at things in the flesh. Why don't you just leave? You say you don't love them no more, just leave. And they don't even realize that it's a spider web. You're caught in that web. And they're very strategic about it. So they will do something and set something up. Literally, intentionally, set something up just to get you to react. And when you react, they're going to take your reaction and make you look like a fool. They're going to take your reaction to something they did and tell everybody, see, I told you she's crazy. See, I told you he's crazy. And the people from the outside who don't understand this demonic spirit and that this person is a narcissist, they will really think you're crazy. And so before you know it, you're trying to prove to the outside people that you're not crazy. So you're over explaining yourself. You're trying to tell them things about the narcissist. And they're just looking at you just like, the best thing you can do with the narcissist, from when I had to break my tie, because it's another form of a soul tie. It's another form of a soul tie. Your tie, the spirits, they literally control your life. And they can do it from afar. They can do it from another state. If they have any access to you, that means you guys have children together or are just a child that you love, right? It don't have to be your child per se, but a child that you love. It could be anything that's shared. If you have any type of, financial ties, bills tied, you have to literally untie every single thing from a narcissist. Even if that means that you will have to start 100% over and just give them whatever to get yourself untied. And that's hard to hear because with a narcissist, you literally have to cut off everything that's attached to them that then is somehow in turn attached to you because they use it. They use it as leverage. It wouldn't even make sense in a physical room trying to explain it if someone have never experienced this. They work in the demonic spiritual realm. So they still have ties to you, even if you're not physically sitting next to them. That's why they can control your mind and you in a whole nother house, you in a whole nother state. So the minute that you think you've had enough, because many times, of course, you think you have enough and you go back because you fall for the love bombing and I'm sorry, I've changed, I would do things different, or I'm working on me and I'm going to do better and I'm sorry I ever did this to you and please forgive me and all this stuff. So that's love bombing. They're just trying to do whatever to get you back. And so they know the entire time that they're only doing it to get you back. Once they get you back, the hit that's coming this time is going to be more lethal than the last hit. So personally, my opinion, I believe in order to break this demonic tie, in order to be a narcissist, and it's not even so much about beating, because you just listen, nobody got time to be playing these games, right? It's just really about conquering and cutting off that spirit forever. Because some people say that it's a spirit that will linger forever. My whole thing is, listen, we're not going to tie the spirit. We're going to cut it off and we're going to burn it. Point blank, period. But that's not easy. So when you ask God to step in, right? Now I'm going to be real. You're going to have to be to the point of no return. This is for any soul ties or ties. Because when you ask God to step in, when you really ask that and you change your mind next week just because you was mad and all that stuff, God ain't gonna bring it back. So you gonna feel it. So you have to be at your breaking point. Like with me, I didn't get to my breaking point for a very, very long time with this person until this year, actually. This year. And God had been very, very clear to me. Well, not clear, right? But he had told me, I'm going to give you some things to do. They're not going to feel good. But until you break this spirit up off of you, I can't take you higher. And all in excitement, I'm like, well, I wouldn't go higher, so now tell me what I got to do. God is strategic. Now, he ain't going to really give you, not until you like agree. Then it's like, boom, like, oh my God. So he told me some things I had to do. And I won't get into details, but one of the things that I had to do was grieve. There was something in the middle of us that kept us tied. And God told me I had to remove that. I had to literally remove it. There was because I had already agreed and told God, okay, whatever you tell me to do in order to cut this demonic tie so I can finally be free and not have this dark energy popping up into my life every purple moon. When he told me what I had to remove and how I had to do it, oh my, you talking about heartbreak? You talking about heartbreak? Because whatever he tells you to move, what he tells you to move, you're going to have to grieve whatever that thing is. Or even if it's a person, you're going to have to grieve it. You're going to have to grieve it, and it can take a long time. But you're going to have to grieve it. You're going to have to allow your heart to break. You're going to have to be okay with this may really be it. And once you get to that point, and of course you went through your process of grieving and understanding, like, I don't even know if it'll ever, but I have to be okay with that because God has been clear. So your obedience have to be to God. This is why your obedience have to be to God, because flesh alone won't allow you to do it. And so once God tells you to remove whatever it is, he will tell you to remove, because he'll give you your answers on what you need to do, because every situation is different. It might be, for example, something's popping up in my spirit, and it might not even be you, but it's just in general. Let's just say you guys have a house together and both people name are on the mortgage, and God is telling you, I don't care how much money you've put into that house. I don't care how much renovations you've done. I don't care how much curtains you've hung in there. Walk away from it. Give it all to him. Walk away from it. And you're going to be like, heck to the no. I worked 2 jobs. I hung those curtains. I bought that rug. Girl, listen. First of all, half of that stuff is full up with them demonic spirits anyway. So you don't want to take it with you anyway. This is when you have to trust faith. This is when you have to understand that if God says leave it, he will provide on the other side. See, you're thinking in the flesh. Like, if I ever leave the house, I'm going to have to live in a hole in the ground. Well, would you rather live in a hole in the ground with a peace of mind, or would you rather be tied up with a demonic force that's lingering over your head and breaking your heart over and over and over and over? I'll live in the hole in the ground because I know God will eventually, So ask God to give you more downloads on what you should do. When you start to feel like you're getting confirmation, ride with those confirmations. Let those confirmations stick. When they start to feel like they're leaving your spirit and you can't remember what the confirmation was, go back to that person or ask God to show you what the original confirmation was. Be careful about how many different people you're getting confirmations from, because it can get very, very confusing. I can be speaking right now and you get a major confirmation. Like, oh my goodness, that's a confirmation because God told me the same exact thing yesterday. Now you go listen to another recording who says something the complete opposite. And now you're like, well, which one is right? So you see why? This is why you have to be very, very careful on how many people you look to really pour into you and that you really tap into. I think last thing I have to go. I love making recordings that I kind of just like not look at time. Oh, I thought it was like 40 minutes in. I'm only 20 minutes. As far as the church thing, not church thing, that sounds a little disrespectful. That is definitely something that you definitely want to have to wait and get your confirmations from God. I don't think anybody can really kind of like give you an answer with that, because nobody knows like what's really going on in the church. And, personally, I'm just one of these people like, listen, no, I'm not. I won't sit here and lie and say like I go to church all the time. When church was open, I gotta be honest. Like I have a relationship with God. I understand church. You come together, worship. I get it. But let me tell you something. God is changing some things in the church. Again, I'm not huge on church. I'm not there every Sunday. I'm not there. But the times I've been and the things I've saw from pastors trying to holler out the back door, from everybody crying and worshiping, and you're 2 feet saying even out the red off the out the door to the red carpet, because church be having red carpet. I don't even know where that came from. Who church got red carpet? Y'all let me know. Comment. Do your church got red carpet? Because I don't know where that came from. But by the time you get out the back door, everybody's gossiping in the parking lot, talking about who dresses too tight, who ain't got no edges, who man looking at some girl. I ain't got time for it. I just don't. And that's not every church. Let me be clear. But I will say that God have shown me in the spirit, a lot of churches will not return to what we deem to be normalcy when it comes to churches. And some churches just won't return. If they're wise, you see how Pastor relates to Blake's brothers are like, they still have their church, of course, but you see how they're also being wise enough to do things virtually, where there's a lot of churches who are refusing to do so for whatever reason. They may not have a lot of knowledge on technology or whatever, but they're literally waiting for church to come back as what they deem to be as normal and how it was left prior to coronavirus. Honey, God is shaking up some things. So if you feel like God is saying something to you about your church, or your spirit ain't sitting right with it no more, see, your spirit is going to tell you everything as long as you're aligned properly. But you're dealing with a narcissist, so your spirit might be all over the place. But then again, you told me you were fasting and you're isolated. So right now you should be getting some good downloads. Because you're isolated. But your spirit don't lie. At least mine don't. If I go somewhere, my spirit ain't, I need it. For me to say something is good, it can be a person, place, or thing. My spirit has to be a pure feeling. Almost like looking through a clear tunnel. There can be no interruption. There can be no cloudiness. There can be nothing. If I don't feel purity in a clear form, even if I'm confused about it and it seems to be more gray, not black or white, but gray, I don't mess with it. Because for me, anything that I've ever tapped into that was questionable or more gray versus black or white, I got burned. So I learned very early, if it ain't clear, if my spirit ain't 100% pure on that thing, I'm not messing with it. Point blank, period. Person, place, or thing. You got to go. I got to go. So if your spirit is pinging and giving you downloads about certain things about your church or certain people, or, just ask God to show you this. I promise you he will. I think that was it. I addressed the narcissist. Last thing, purpose and calling. Now, in our meeting with Pastor Blake's a couple of weeks ago, I'm clear on what my purpose is, but a lot of people are not. I'm clear on what my purpose is, but I'm also realizing that my purpose is expanding. So it's like God give you bits and pieces of it at a time that will eventually lead to your ultimate purpose. But that doesn't take away from the fact that even if you haven't arrived to your destiny place of purpose, there's still purpose in what you're doing now, right? So I'm not sure what you're doing now, but let's just say, I don't know, you're volunteering your time somewhere, or you're just doing some things at your church. I don't know. Don't discredit that and say like, okay, I need purpose, because there can be purpose in what you're doing in this season. You may be purposed to do a thing in this season. But for me, what I identify purpose to be is you just can't get away from it. You live and you breathe it. And it's not even that you always want to do it, but it's that thing that comes so natural. You can do it for free. If they stop paying you to do it, or they can no longer pay you for it, you can still do it without it making you feel like it's so heavy, and so you can just do it naturally. And in fact, other people look at you and be like, oh, you're just amazing. And you're looking at like, what, girl? I don't know what you're looking at. But it's definitely going to be related to serving others in whatever form or fashion. Purpose is about helping and serving others. There's no purpose too small, because some people, not you per se, but some people want to look for the lights, the camera, the action, the boom, boom, boom. Sometimes purpose is very subtle. It could be subtle for a season, and then boom, God give you light, camera, action next season. But be okay on how God is using you in this season. So whatever that thing is for you, let's just say you're baking brownies, right? So you're a baker. You bake good cakes. You bake like red velvet and pound cakes and all that stuff like that, right? I'm not really a cake girl, but I love a good lemon pound cake. And you just bake them like for your family members. So like on Sundays, you're calling everybody over because you just love to bake. I mean, it gives you a peace of mind when you do it so well. So yes, baking cakes could be your purpose. However, ask God how to use you and expand you and show you purpose within baking cake, because there may be way more purpose than just blessing your ungrateful family. They're coming over there trying to take the whole cake, or they said they're coming and don't even come pick up the cake. And you're sitting here like, these fools, I'm trying to sit here and give y'all some free cake, and y'all just ungrateful. And God may have you take those same cakes and take it to some nursing home. Well, everybody's not diabetic at nursing homes, but nursing homes or bag them up, take it to the orphanage, bag them up, hand them out to homeless people walking on the street. Personally, I like to do that. I don't really like to feed the homeless people from in the line, no disrespect to people who do, but I like to catch them like on the street. So, because then you get to have more of a personal conversation, a more intimate conversation with them versus if you're just standing in the line just serving. But that's beautiful too, if that's what you do. But there's something you can do to maximize your purpose and what you're already doing. So if it's not feeling like quote unquote purpose, then maybe ask God to help you and show you the areas in the lane that you should be doing it in. So purpose doesn't have to be huge. A lot of times it's not. So I hope this helps you, sis, but I'm so grateful, that you reached out. Actually, I reached out to you. Now you see how God works, right? You said in your email that now look at all these questions, that long email you had, the Spirit had me reach out to you because you just sent a very, very short message last week. And we were done with it. You said what you said, I said what I said, and everything was good. But this morning, in my stillness, you came back to Spirit. So this is why obedience is important. So I emailed you just to say, my Spirit tells me you might be struggling with something. And here you gave me this long email. So now what would have happened if I didn't reach out to you and Satan have already gotten in your head and make you think like nobody in the world cares about your problems because everybody got their own problems? So please, anytime you feel a nudge to reach out to someone, me or whoever, please do so if you feel a nudge to. When you start hearing that confusing spirits and telling you nobody cares, and that's Satan, his nonsense. And guess what? Even if you reach out to somebody and they are put off, it doesn't mean they don't care. But everybody's just going through their own stuff. Everybody's going through their own stuff. So this person is going to be going through their own storm. And as much as they love you, they can't really give you but so much. They're kind of short with you because they're stressing themselves. Like, don't stop there. That's a trick of the enemy, honey. You get your answers. You get your confirmation. You guys have a great one. This is my last recording for tonight, I think. You guys have a great one. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.